If your child is struggling with chronic neurological challenges like autism, ADHD, sensory processing challenges, anxiety, seizures, OCD, pandas, then there's really good chance that this is your story. You've gone the traditional route, the pediatricians, the specialists, the testing, and you're still left without real answers. You've stayed up late at night scrolling and researching, Googling absolutely everything, trying to connect the dots and find something that actually gets to the root cause. You've tried maybe the diets, the supplements, the detoxes, the therapies, and you've seen small wins, but nothing that truly lasts. And then deep down, you know it's not just about a diagnosis anymore because it's every single day. The meltdowns, the sleep struggles, the constant stress on your child, and therefore your entire family. And if that sounds like you, then your child may be stuck in what we call the perfect storm. This is one of the most important concepts that we can share with parents, and honestly one that's real and near to our heart because we've lived it ourselves, Dr. Sam and I. The perfect storm is a sequence of events starting as early as pregnancy that places massive amounts of stress on a child's developing nervous system, then leaving it stuck in a constant state of fight or flight and throwing development just way off track. So no matter what you try, they stay stuck. And here's why this matters so much, because right now we are seeing an explosion in chronic childhood conditions. It's estimated that about 1 in 5 children in the United States today have special healthcare needs, and over 40% of school-age children have at least one chronic health condition. Conditions like ADHD, like autism, like anxiety, autoimmune challenges, they're rapidly rising. And parents everywhere are asking the same question: what are we missing? Here's what most families, and honestly most healthcare providers for that matter, don't fully understand. Everything is connected. Those early childhood challenges your child had, colic, constipation, eczema, frequent ear infections, those weren't random, and they didn't just go away. Kids don't simply grow out of those issues. They often grow into something bigger. Challenges like sensory processing issues, ADHD, autism, asthma, and allergies. This follows such a predictable pattern. And even though the medical system separates everything into different specialties like neurology and gastroenterology and immunology, they are so very intricately connected through one central system, and that's the nervous system. For many kids, the perfect storm begins well before they're even born. One of the most overlooked triggers is high stress during pregnancy. When a mom is under chronic stress, her nervous system shifts into a sustained sympathetic fight or flight response, like it's running from a bear all the time. That stress is not isolated to mom then. Those stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline are shared directly with the developing baby. The umbilical cord doesn't just deliver nutrients and oxygen, it also acts as a communication pathway between mom's nervous system and baby's developing nervous system. So if mom is stuck in stress mode, guess what? Baby is being wired in that same environment. Then comes the next major component of the perfect storm: birth intervention and physical stress during delivery. When labor becomes complicated, interventions like inductions, forceps, vacuum extractions, or C-section are used, often very necessary, right? Don't get me wrong. Our daughter was a vacuum delivery. Our son was an emergency C-section, right? And that's why we are here today preaching this so loud. But they do have repercussions. And oftentimes there's significant mechanical stress placed on the baby's head, neck, and the brainstem. This is incredibly important because the brainstem and upper cervical spine are where the nervous system is most vulnerable and where critical functions are controlled. And when that area experiences tension or misalignment, something that chiropractors call subluxation, it can disrupt normal neurological function. And immediately that shifts baby's nervous system into a fight or flight, sympathetic, running from a bear response. And at that same time, this stress response suppresses something incredibly important: the vagus nerve and the parasympathetic, the brake pedal side of things. This is the part of the nervous system responsible for sleep and digestion and immune function and breathing and feeding and latching and calming and self-soothing and self-regulation and all those good things. So when that system is suppressed, you don't get a calm, regulated baby. You get a baby who is out of control, colicky, fussy, not sleeping, struggling to latch, dealing with reflux or digestion issues, and getting sick often. And then what typically happens next is that this stressed out, dysregulated infant starts to enter the medical system more frequently. More infections, more symptoms, and oftentimes more medications, antibiotics, reflux meds, steroids. While those may help temporarily, they often disrupt the gut microbiome and the gut-brain connection, which are critical for immune and neurological development, and we just end up kicking the can down the road. So instead of fixing the problem, it can actually drive the child further into imbalance. Over time then, this cascade builds and builds, and what started as early stress and nervous system dysfunction in infancy can evolve into ADHD, autism, anxiety, asthma, allergies, and autoimmune challenges later on in life. Each one gets diagnosed separately and treated separately, but they're often rooted in the same underlying issue: nervous system dysautonomia. That means where the autonomic nervous system, it's out of balance, it's stuck in stress mode, it's unable to properly regulate. So the real question becomes then, how do we address that? This is where neurologically focused pediatric chiropractic comes into play. This is a specialized approach, completely different from traditional chiropractic, focused specifically on identifying and correcting nervous system dysfunction in children. At our office, we use advanced technology called insight scans to measure how your child's nervous system is functioning. And then these scans, they allow us to see where stress is stored, where communication is disrupted, and how well the nervous system is adapting. And then from there, we create a fully customized care plan. Then comes the most important part, the chiropractic adjustments. These are gentle, precise, neurologically focused adjustments designed to release stored stress from the sympathetic fight or flight response system, restore balance to the autonomic nervous system, activate the vagus nerve, and improve that brain-body connection. So instead of chasing symptoms, we're helping the nervous system shift out of survival mode and into a state of healing and regulation and growth. So if you've been listening to this and thinking, wow, this is my child, please hear this. There is hope. You're not crazy for feeling like something deeper is going on, and you're not alone. At Foundations Chiropractic, we see this every single day. Families who have tried, we've lived this every single day. Like I said, our test subjects 1 and 2, test subjects is probably not a great way to say that, but 1 and 2, they were our kids, Brooks and Ren. We see this all the time. Families who have tried everything and finally start getting answers when they look at the nervous system. If this resonates with you, the next step is simple. Schedule a consultation, get your child's insight scans, and let's actually measure what's going on beneath the surface so we can create a plan moving forward. Because your child's story doesn't have to stay stuck in the storm. There is a path forward, and we'd be honored to walk it with you.